Yes, indeed. It's that time again on the Boys on the Bus. It's Friday night. It's just after 9 o'clock, and it's always, you know what that means? It must be time for that Friday feeling here. And I hope everybody has got their sticky tape with them, because we've got a football team to tape back together, because our beloved Celtic are literally falling apart at the seams after last night. And the Greg Taylor klaxon's already going off at Liam's end, I think. Hold on, Liam, I'll just put you on mute just now. I'll put you on mute just now, mate. Yeah, it's going a bit car. It's going crazy already. There you go. The emergency services are on their way to paste our Celtic team back together by the sounds of it. Because, yeah, we did get a win last night, so we've got a positive result to talk about. It's a nice feeling because recently, Jesus, it's been a bit grim at times coming on. Not a lot of great stuff to talk about, but yeah, we did get a win over Sturm Graz, so we'll be obviously talking about that. But at what cost? At what cost? We've got more injuries mounting up, and yeah, we now go into a top of the table clash against Hearts on Sunday. So yeah, we'll be talking all about that. It's going to be a feisty one. So Johnny, I'll come to you first, because I don't know if Liam's still being drowned out by sirens. But how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit better about Celtic tonight than I thought we were going to be. If I'm being brutally honest, after the events of the last week, or well, more particularly last Sunday. Didn't see the game last Sunday. I was playing golf in the rain with David up at Glenrothes. So we didn't really see the game. We had it up playing on his Sky Go, and yeah, it wasn't overly enjoyable. But apart from that, yeah, I'm absolutely fine, and like I said, a bit happier about tonight than I thought we were going to be. Still very concerned about Sunday though, but I'm sure we'll speak about that as we go on through the show tonight.
We shall indeed. And Liam, it's now safe to unmute yourself, I think. You gave us a thumbs up there. I think the sirens are away. So, but yeah, I think you are still muted just now, though. So I think you have to do it at your end, mate. Aye. There you go.
There we go.
Oh, and he's disappeared off screen. The gremlins are just all over the place tonight. But how are you tonight, Liam, otherwise?
Aye, I don't know. I'm good. Am I back on, aye?
Aye, you're back on the now, aye.
Good. All right. Jesus Christ, what a day doing here already. I went to get my passport picture taken today, and it's just every psycho in the land was it. And yeah, just as we said, yeah, 12 o'clock, the sirens started. Like, it's a Greg Taylor klaxon or something. He's getting his aim back on me.
By the way.
Yeah, I'm good, by the way. So I just drink it, you know. Whatever the opposite of windswept and interesting is, that's what I'm going for today. But I'm optimistic. I've got some. There's a few narratives I've been thinking about that. That I think, yeah, all right, maybe there is a way out of this, and let's talk about that later on. Because, all right, if I'm a dreamer, all right, I'll tell you what the dream I had.
Okay, so encouraging signs we saw last night. Okay, well, we'll get into that in due course. But before we do that, folks, before we get started on all the good stuff, you know, we know what to do. So, yeah, hit the like button. Again, helps us out with the algorithms, because we are now bearing down on 1,000 subscribers. We're over 950. The last I checked, I think it was 951, 950, around about there. So yeah, 1,000 is definitely in sight now. So you can help us out. You hit the like button, gets us recommended in more people's recommend their suggested videos with the algorithm. People who like Celtic content, like podcasts, and we are more likely to pop up, because interactive channels get pushed more by YouTube. So every like does actually help. Of course, you can hit the subscribe button if you are new to the channel and you do like the cut of our jib, but then by all means, hit that subscribe button and help us towards that magical 1,000 number as well. So let's see who's in our comments tonight. It's already been a busy one so far. I can see a lot of comments coming. So let's have a wee look. So Ian McIntosh is here. Sligo Boy, Joe Henry, Jim C, Smell the Glove, Stephen Murdoch, Pato, James Kennedy. Who else have I not shouted yet? Scrolling up. I'm sure Graham Tyrrell will be here. So there he is. Graham Tyrrell is in. Who else have we got? Any other names I've not given a wee shout out to yet? 420 somewhere's here as well. So yeah, a lot of familiar Friday night names that are in and are making themselves comfortable in their usual Friday night seats. So welcome along, folks. Thanks for choosing us on this fine Friday evening. What else can you do? If you want to become a Boys in the Bus member, you can indeed do so for $1.99 a month. Again, none of our content is ever going to be on a Patreon or behind any sort of paywalls or whatnot. It will always be on the YouTube channel, free of charge, but just it's a wee sort of helps keep diesel in the bus tank. And you can also, if you like the audio, if you like to catch up on audio, then you can, of course, subscribe to our SoundCloud website. The link is in the description below. And yeah, I think that's all the good stuff out the way. Of course, you can share, like, if you see a tweet from the Twitter account, if I'm promoting a show, then by all means just retweet it to spread awareness of the Boys in the Bus channel. So yeah, 1,000 is in sight. So hopefully in the next few weeks we can hit that number. But yes, let's get into tonight's show. So obviously last night we played Sturm Graz in the Europa League. We kept our Europa League hopes alive because had we lost last night, I think it was done already. You may as well just fielded a second string team for the last 5 games at this rate if we'd lost, because yeah, I'd say it would be over. The chances of getting to they talk about 10 points being the kind of threshold you want to get to. So as it stands right now, Celtic are in the same number of points, Liam, as they were at this stage last year in the Champions League. You know, the same format. It's 8 games, obviously, you know, with the new UEFA format for the competition. So after 3 games last season, the Champions League, we were on 4 points. We're on 4 points now. So we're in that same sort of trajectory, really. But yeah, it was a win or bust game. They had to dig pretty deep, but they got there in the end, Liam. But going back to something you've said a lot about Brendan and his inability to win must-win games, it seems these days, they managed to pull it out last night by hook or by crook, Liam. And as you said at the top of the show, you've got a wee bit of encouragement, a wee morsel of hope there. So what was your feelings? What was your initial takeaways from last night?
I mean, it was just nice to see us get some decisions. I mean, I should say some fortune going our way, but we lost 2 players. I mean, it was a weird game to watch. I mean, I felt watching it, I'd been taken out the game early as a spectator. You know, like it was like, oh, this is going to be a slog, and it's not even just a normal thing. It was like, it was just like all the greatest hits. You know, 2 like injuries to important players, and then a screamer out of nowhere with the goal who's nowhere near, and just like, you know, didn't see it coming, didn't expect it. Honestly, I don't think Schmeichel's seen much about it as well. Just couldn't move his feet as well closer to it. It was just like absolute pitch perfect shot. Mm-hmm. And then you're 1-0 down, and then it was just felt myself. It's like, all right, it's a long time since I've felt this, like dejected as a Celtic fan, thinking, all right, you know, it's going to be a slug to get back into this. Where it was other teams before where you knew there'd be certain guys rallying the troops and getting them ready. And yeah, it looked it. We ground the gears. It took us a while to get back into it. And then, yeah, we got the result. I think Scales, Nygren, both good goals, right time, right place. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think we made it hard for ourselves. I mean, we did have a man advantage for the longest time, didn't we?
Aye, we did. Aye, they went down to 10 men after we went 2-1 up.
So, and I think that's, if you look at those stats and all that, and it looks like, oh, aye, we created a lot of chances. And I think it was after that guy went off that we started creating some more chances, and we found ourselves with extra space. Because what I liked about Donovan in that game as well, just to point out something individual, is he was willing to get that ball across every time he could. He was looking to drive it across the goal. And I think this is like conditioning and timing. If that's his intent and stuff like that, that's something we should be like encouraging and stuff like that, and see if so that he can actually get better at it. It becomes more proficient by the more in-game chances he gets to perform. And so, yeah, I'm looking at that part as being that. I thought that was a good highlight of the night anyway. So I was saying, it was a weird, it was an up and down game to watch. You know, glad we won and all that, but it still papers over a lot of cracks. Still have a lot of questions. We still not really proved anything. Brendan coming out and saying, I don't know what it was, around, oh, it was brilliant or something, like, made it sound like...
we were a Range Rover Sport. We weren't quite a Ferrari last night. We were more a Range Rover Sport. Now, he's loving the car analogies right now. If David Brent was a car salesman, there you go. That's what it would be.
And that's why he deserves to hear Connor on Carnage or Carmageddon. Because again, that was a car crash, a comment. Why are you making it worse? You know, it's like, just stay off it. Nowadays, you know, it's not the time to start playing cute again. You're a grown man. Stop that bullshit and just talk to people normal and all that. Like, you know, it's like, we get the analogies and all that. Just behave.
No, it's to say that there's a few things that Brendan's done over the last few weeks in particular, but that comment, yeah, it just seems to go in arms and legs now. He's just adding to it and doubling down on it. But yeah, I'm sure we'll probably hear more. Car analogy seems to be the theme at the moment. But Johnny, Liam was talking about some individual performances. One guy who last night, I think I went through the entire spectrum of emotion with this guy was Benjamin Nygren, because Jesus Christ, everything. I was delighted with him when he scored. I was absolutely enraged with him with the sitters he kept missing. At times, I was quite sympathetic for him, where like he had a glancing header that the keeper just stuck an arm out and saved. But my God, I think David said it well last night on the post-match show, saying there's one thing about Nygren, he definitely cares. You know, he's a very emotional type of player, and he definitely draws you in, even though a lot of fans do get wound up by his theatrics and all that. But Jesus Christ, he was on a mission last night, a one-man mission. He was everywhere doing everything, but not a lot of it came off. But what did you make of Nygren's performance in particular, Johnny?
Yeah, well, first of all, full disclosure, I watched the game last night, but let's just say I was well lubricated. I was out yesterday afternoon, for more than a few drinks and a meal. I went to a really nice Korean restaurant that we've got down here in Lincoln, and I think I put on our WhatsApp group. I hope with any luck, this will be the only Koreans that I see tonight. Thankfully, it was. Yep. So yeah, I watched the game, but don't ask me to give too much of a detailed account of it, shall we say? But Nygren was wasteful, shall we say, at best. He could have easily had 4 goals last night with just a little bit more composure or whatnot. Like, you know, a couple of headers that, I mean, quite honestly, I mean, he must have a head the shape of a 50-pence piece, like, you know, the one that got lobbed through him. Although, to be fair, that maybe wasn't the easiest angle that it came at him, but still think he should have done a lot better than put it about 6 yards past the post. Then the other one, was that the one right at the end where the keeper just put his arm up and
we'd already gone 2-1 up, so he'd already scored. There was another corner, great glancing header, and the keeper's just threw an arm out and tipped it over the bar.
He was lucky with that one, to be fair. But he is a player who, shall we say, divides opinion, or you know, I don't know if he's quite showed what we would maybe have hoped from him so far. He's not worked his way into being a fan favourite or anything. That might take him a while to get into that sort of level. But yeah, he definitely polarised us last night, and just, especially in that first half, I was just thinking we were pretty toothless, to be fair.
Yeah. Hey Phil, can I just add to a wee bit about Nygren? You know who Nygren reminded me of last night? Every single Swedish player we've ever signed to play up front, all rolled into the one player.
Because he used the whole spectrum. Yeah, he was.
He went the full spectrum of that, even headman, like the head rushes, everything. I think, there was a full spectrum of the anthology of Swedish football players that came through Celtic. And I think he was doing like a greatest hits or a compilation album where he just went through, showing us a bit of every single one of them, like he was, you know, playing at my cools or something.
See, the one that stood out for me because of where I sit at Celtic Park behind the goal in the Jockstein end, and it's the one that Liam Scales lobbed through, and him and Johnny Kenny are obviously watching it, and you could see him basically tell Johnny Kenny to leave it, and he then goes and just completely fluffs it right by the post at close range. But then, 10 minutes later, he scores from a similar range. There's a corner right on his head, and he's just right there to put it in. And it's it makes a change that, you know, instead of him taking the corners, because we don't tend to do much with him whenever he tries to put one into the box. But the guy who obviously did take that corner, and many people are coming away, Liam, and saying that he was the man of the match. Is this the redemption arc of Arne Engels? Is this it happening? We've been here before with Engels in the last year, where he'll have these games, these flashes from time to time, and we go, that's it. That's the Arnie Engels that we know. That's the £11 million player, and then it kind of fizzles out. But is this going to be different, Liam? Are we now going to see the redemption arc of Arnie Engels?
Well, it's like love is in the air, right? You've got the new love interest over at Ibrox. We're looking for something to fall in love with as well. It's Christmas time. Everybody wants to be alone. Everyone wants to forgive and all that. Is this a redemption arc? I don't know. I thought he looked pretty good. You know, keep getting told how technical he is. We keep getting told, you know, proficient he is when it comes to the data type stats and defending and all that. Is maybe the fact that he's playing out of position what's hampering it, and that maybe what we did yesterday was we readjusted his role, so we're actually playing him in the stuff that he's actually good at. I mean, Callum McGregor ended up having a really good game as well, and I think it was because Arnie Engels was doing that, and I think it just takes a wee bit of bravery from our manager to maybe move Callum up into the role he's better at and have some trust in the player that you paid £13 million for.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. There was a few times in the first half, though, he was infuriating me and I think a lot of people in the crowd, because also with a goal down, you can imagine what it was like. A lot of angst from the stands where the ball comes into his feet, and instead of turning and trying to drive us forward, he would just pass it straight back. If McGregor passed one into his feet, right back to McGregor. Whoever passes it in his feet, straight back. But in the second half, he seemed to, get more confidence. Say the corner he took, right where you want it, right in that spot keepers don't like. It's pretty much on top of the keeper. And of course, Negan was there to put it in. There was that ball in the second half late on that he played from out wide right, and Johnny Kenny slides at it and it goes over the bar. But what a cross it was. It was a fantastic ball. And Johnny, what Ian McIntosh says there, has the spell on the sidelines maybe done Arnie Engels the world of good. So it could be something like that. Maybe he's needed that to just sort of give him a sort of kick up the backside. It's like, I know you cost £11 million and you are the club's record signing, but that doesn't mean you should start every week if you're out of form. But now when you do get an opportunity, you need to take it. And maybe last night could be that. As I say, could it be a redemption arc for him, Johnny? But it could be the spell on the sideline is what's giving him that kick up the arse that he needed.
Yeah, hopefully. It could well be that. I mean, Engels is one of these ones. I haven't made my mind up on Engels yet, as to whether he's going to be what we would hope him to be. But last night was a step in the right direction. Maybe it was also because I felt, from what I can remember of the game last night, I felt that we seemed to be playing a bit more. Maybe it's because we were getting beat. Maybe it's because it was a European game. And it was a definite must-win game. Otherwise, Europe was pretty much in the bin. We played with a bit more urgency, I felt, and a bit more, especially in the second half, a bit more speed about things. So it might be a combination of the spell on the sidelines, giving him the jolt that he needed. I'm not, just because they paid £11 million for me, I'm not just an automatic starter. Yeah. As has been shown so far this season. So maybe that will be just the catalyst for him to push on and start being the player we reckon that he should be at that kind of money. And I know £11 million in the grand scheme of things in football sounds ridiculous to say it isn't a massive amount of money, but for us, it is a massive amount of money. Yeah, it's that record signing at the end of the day, and he's only a kid. And I think we sometimes have to remember that he is only he's what? How old is he? 20, 21?
Oh, he's in his early 20s. Aye.
So, and he's obviously playing in a completely different environment to what he's ever been used to. I'm not talking about the ability-wise. I'm talking about the pressure of you must win games. We draw, and it's as good as a disaster. And he's never played for a club that's had to do that before, and that can be a heavy weight for somebody to carry when they're not used to it. And where a draw and sometimes getting beat is almost, if not acceptable, then expected, if you like. I mean, the team he was playing for in Germany, Augsburg, was it?
Augsburg, yeah.
I mean, I suppose they're a mid-table team in the
mid-table at best, bottom half sort of Bundesliga team, yeah.
So he's obviously coming in. He's playing in a pressurized environment that he's never been in before, and And it's maybe just taking them a bit longer to learn to carry that weight of expectation. So hopefully he's going to kick on. But last night, yeah, he had a good game last night. So
yeah,
so we shall see. We shall see. It's almost and upwards, hopefully.
Well, with the delivery he put in for the second goal, something that we need massive. I mean, are you having that one, Liam, that both of our goals came off of corners? We had both ends of the spectrum when it came to corners. We had the direct one, get it right in the mixer, and the other one was a short corner. How many short corners do we take and nothing happens? It's just like there's no plan. Just take a quick short corner, and then before you know it, the ball ends back with Kasper Schmeichel. Within 10 seconds, it's all the way back to him. But last night, that first goal obviously was a quick corner. It was Negan took it, I believe, went it, and then it was Engels played it into Donovan. Donovan obviously then just played it very close goal. Liam Scales with what a finish, showing the strikers how it was done. And I say the second one was, just straight into the mixer, exactly where you want to put it. And yeah, we've ended up scoring there. So hopefully we've not used up our quota of corner goals, because it tends to be when Celtic do score a goal from a set piece, it's like 10 games later before we see another one. So hopefully we can start to make the most of them, because especially when we're playing teams that like a low block in Scottish football, which is majority of them, you need to be good at set pieces, because we struggle to break teams down in open play. It's just the black and white of it with Celtic at the moment. We are struggling in open play in a lot of games, so it would be handy if we can start to make the most of the set pieces, and if Engels can be that guy that can put those on a 10 pence piece from distance, then that would be fantastic. But Liam, let's talk about some of the negatives then from last night, and it's all about injuries. Injuries everywhere. As I said to the show, get your sticky tape out when you put this team back together, mate, because it's falling apart. All the hype, all the delight that Alistair Johnston was back. Finally, we're not going to see Anthony Ralston, and Alistair Johnston injured not long into the game. He's chasing down a long ball from Sturm Graz. There's obviously the attacker behind him. He's obviously stretched to pass it back to Kasper Schmeichel, and it's went. The hamstrings went. He's gone down. He's not even allowed the physio or anybody to come on. He's just got up. He's obviously went off. And he was one of a few last night, but that one obviously caught a lot of headlines because he's literally just back and he's away again. Liam, is he just a victim of he's just been playing way too much football in this calendar year and it's now caught up to him and he's just been maybe brought back a bit too quickly because Brendan needed to do something. He had to change something up there, especially after what we saw up at Dundee. The right-hand side was completely ineffective up at Dundee. So it looks like he's just been a victim of that. Maybe came back a bit too quickly. And yeah, it's gone again. Could be another few months before we see Alistair Johnston, Liam.
I mean, Alistair Johnston. Okay, so we all know what the narrative in this one's going to be, right? If you're writing the origin film or something of this new team that becomes the next Lisbon Lions or something, this is where your right back comes for, you know. So I think it's up to Donovan to step into that spot right now. Mm-hmm. This is written for him to be that success story right now. He's playing well. I really liked his desire. I liked the impact he made. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a little bit nervous at the start, but yeah, then I start seeing him and he's grown into the game. And as the game got more, he got better. And as I said, he's got that intent to cross every ball to try and cause damage and get that into it. And maybe that's what we need to start doing. And maybe the writing on the wall is it's going to take this set of injuries for Rodgers to get over his stubbornness, because that's all it is really at this age, right? It's no data. It's proven them wrong and stuff right now. So it's just got to be stubbornness right now to get over it and start utilising the squad to better. And maybe it's the opportunity for these boys to get that chance and get up there and actually make a name for themselves like so many other Celtic players have. And it's just like, give the guys a chance, because I really think if Johnston had came back, we probably wouldn't have seen Donovan. We would probably maybe have seen him coming in and substituting for Johnston late in games and all that. But Johnston won't be a guy Rodgers would want to change at every game, you know. Yeah. He's more concerned about Tierney. So, you know, you was hopefully, you know, you see another guy with all this potential and you start wondering, how is he not playing in that? And then you find out once away and ends up showing up playing in Italy. You know, he's got all those sort of attributes. Whereas let's give this boy a chance now. So I'm hoping that Rodgers looks at this and just says, okay, right, I can just change your stubbornness, figure out how to play it. And with Johnston gone and CCV gone, do we start going to 3 at the back then? Excuse me.
He might need to. I mean, he's done it a couple of times, but only when we've been losing games at half time. He seems to have switched it up against Braga and against Dundee. And it went nowhere both times. But hey, at least Brendan showed that he's happy to change it from time to time. He does have it in him. He isn't that, against changing the formation. So it is there's an option. But right now, with this we'll get on to the CCV injury in a bit. But Johnny, were you at least encouraged last night that when Johnston did go down, that it wasn't Anthony Ralston coming on and it was Donovan? Because I know I certainly was. I mean, here's a comment for Spell the Glove. He says, if Brendan starts Ralston on Sunday ahead of Donovan, I just give up. So Spell the Glove is all about ready to tap out, Johnny, if he sees Tony Ralston on Sunday. We might see him though, unfortunately. How are you feeling about that one, Johnny? Tony Ralston? I think it's got to be Donovan going forward. We're only going to develop this boy if he plays. And I feel like Ralston, we can keep saying the cows come home. He does give his all, no doubt about it, but his ability is lacking now at this stage. This boy Donovan looks like he can be nurtured into something good, so he's going to benefit from more game time. So for me, it has to be Kobe Donovan going forward and not Ralston. But I was very encouraged last night that Brendan didn't just revert to get Ralston on when Johnston went off.
Yeah, I was happy about that. Donovan should be the second pick, the standard second pick if you want, before Ralston. Ralston's he's had more time at Celtic than he probably ever expected. I mean, Christ, I mean, he was a guy who couldn't get a game at St. Johnston, and he had that good season. I think it was Terry said on the other night there, not last night, but after Dundee game, I think he said that, he'd had a good season, the Postecoglou's first year, and he did. There's no getting away from it. But I think he's peaked, and I think he punched above his weight, and I think now he's leveling out. And we all expected him to move. Was it last year? I think even he expected him to be moving on. Yeah. So I was happy to see Donovan coming on. Because what we don't want is Donovan being one of these ones who starts to show a little bit, gets put back in the cupboard, if you like, and then moves on to somewhere else, and we never hear from him again. I mean, like I said, I think I've said on here before, on the left-hand side, the young lad Frame, who got one game for us in the Champions League. And he seemed to do all right. Now, whether he was going to be any good or not, we'll never know because he's up at Aberdeen now. But I haven't really followed whether he's getting any game time or not. But we don't want Donovan going the same route, getting the chance to shine, doing all right, and then just never seen again. But so we definitely want him to get a good run of games, because Johnston's going to be out now for, I would say, I've never seen anything on the news, but I reckon hamstring. 5-6 weeks, depending on the severity of the injury. And I've never seen anything about any time frames for him. I have done for Vickers. He's going to be 3 to 5 months.
Yeah, Achilles. He's tore his Achilles, I believe it is, or done some sort of damage to Achilles. The only encouragement, Johnny, I think you can take from the Alistair Johnston one is he walked off when he went down against Kairat. He was carried off. He was at a stretcher came on off. He actually walked off under his own accord, just decided, it's gone. So there is that, but
so
it's going to be
it's just a case of I felt it, and I think I better come off before we do any more damage to it. And sometimes you get that, so it might only be 3 or 4 weeks, but he's still going to be out for. We've got a lot of games coming up.
Christmas period coming up.
Was it something like? We've got obviously Hearts on Sunday. We've got midweek. We've got Sunday midweek.
Then we've got Rangers. Then I believe we play Midtjylland, and then I think it's like 2 more games, and then it's another.
So I think we've got like 5 or 6 games in the next 3 weeks. So give Donovan the game time there, and see how we get on, and give the boy a chance. And like Liam says there, sometimes how Scales got into the team, wasn't it? We had basically no option but to play Scales, and we all thought he was off to Aberdeen.
Well, again, fate works in strange ways. Stephen Murdoch's comment there, the injuries might be a blessing to an extent. It forces Brendan into change. But sometimes just with these, the strange twist of fate that can happen, and this could be a good prolonged run for Donovan and the team.
I was going to say that, because Liam's obviously been battering on for the last couple of months, that, for Brendan to show a bit of imagination, try something different, and now he's really going to have no option. Because we've got 2 from last night that are definite long-term injuries. In fact, 3, because I think Iheanacho was a hamstring as well, was it?
Hamstring as well, yep. That was another one.
So we've got 3 players, I reckon. Well, obviously we know Carter-Vickers is a minimum of 3 months, minimum. And the other 2 are going to be probably 5 to 6 weeks, so you'll get your wish, Liam. That Brendan's not going to have any choice but to mix things up and come up with something different, because we haven't got a lot of options, especially in the up front one.
No, you can't promote change by doing stuff the exact same way. Makes no sense. And we all watch football. We've watched Celtic a lot longer than Brendan has. A lot of us have. And you see it with your own eyes as well. And you listen to it. I mean, it's not like I've got an individual point of view. It's everybody that I've listened to that talks about football can see through the cracks right now that he's not getting the best out of his team. And it's like, okay, and if you can't do it through, whatever incentives you're trying to do it, whether it be like, playing mental games with people or you're giving them legitimate encouragement and things like that, whatever it is, it doesn't seem to be sticking. He talks about the training and stuff all week. I'm not seeing it on the park. We look really disjointed out there. We still haven't found a way to bring the ball out right now. And that seems to be our biggest problem. That the way we're doing right now, it's how we're doing it. You need to look through it from a completely different lens or in a different point, rather than just changing the colour of a T-shirt or, you know what I mean? It's like a cosmetic change. You've got to look at the root of what it is you're trying to do it and who are the people involved. And I think, as you said, Johnny, okay, so this looks like this could be this change in the narrative where we actually see that there's some players there and not getting a game that might be better than some of the players that we thought were the safe and steady, right? And so we're going maybe moving away from safe and steady. So now we're going to have to play with a bit more enthusiasm, a bit more marshalling on the park to help younger players through it, but to start sort of developing an identity and a profile, because right now I don't know what that is for Celtic. And let's figure that. If we're going to play from the back, through the back, however we want to redefine it, we've got to figure that out. And this now is an opportunity for some of these young Celtic players that's got a lot of hype around them to come in and sort of replicate what, heroes have done before for them. Here's the opportunity. Kenny Dalglish documentary's coming out, I think, in a couple of days. I've seen the previews for that. And you watch that and you see the hype and you listen to him, what it be must coming through to play for Celtic. All these young boys, I think, have that opportunity right now. And I want to see Brendan give them that. And so I think these injuries right now, it's a shitty way to do it. I think I wish our management had more creativity and bravery and foresight to do it themselves. But okay, here's the opportunity to do it, Brendan. And he still might not do it. He still might go, he might just double down and go with the same thing again. We'll go back to Engels in front of Callum and who knows?
Brian O'Rourke's comment on the screen about the back line, Liam, he's saying, Brendan Rodgers always play a flat back 4, Scales and someone else until every game until mid-January. So there, with the Carter-Vickers injury, this will be an interesting one, because does Austin Trusty come back in and play as 2 left-sided centre-backs, Liam Scales? Does Dane Murray fit in there, because he's made it quite clear that Dane Murray will be the understudy to Carter-Vickers because he's a right-sided centre-back? Or, here's a wild card, are we going to actually see any sort of involvement for Jemai Simpson-Pusey in the next few weeks, Liam? Because Now, if Jemai Simpson-Pusey cannot get a single minute on the park, then I think it's safe to say he's never playing for us, and he will go back to Man City on the 1st of January with his loan being cancelled. But that's where we're at, Liam, with the centre-backs. I think he will go with Trusty. I think he'll play, because he's done 2 left-sided centre-backs for, even though Brendan has said that he would prefer a right-sided one and a left-sided one. But I'm sure we played games in the last season where we had Scales and Trusty playing together. I think he will go for that, because obviously Trusty's now back in the matchday squads after his injury problems. But yeah, that's what I think he will go with. But where are you on that one? And where do you think we'll see Simpson-Pusey at all at any stage?
No, I think Rodgers will go with what's better for the team and what's better for the vibe. So I don't think there's anybody in the team probably looking forward to Pusey coming in and taking a spot and then going back down south again. Yeah. They'd rather probably see somebody like Trusty that's their pal now for a couple of years and that to get into the team and give him his chance. I mean, he must be knocking, on the door of Brendan Rodgers, like with the World Cup coming up in America. He's like, "Hey, Gaffer guy, let me in, man."
Gaffer guy.
Hey, Gaffer guy, where's the Gaffer guy?
It's like, what's that show with Ted Lasso? It's like that. He's trying to say British terminology of football, but he's American, so he doesn't quite get it. But yeah, I get it.
No, we don't need Ted Lasso. We need Beard. We need the assistant manager. That's what Rodgers is too tightly wound. He needs somebody like he needs a night out. Maybe just needs a night out. Just relax,
We'll see what he does with the centre back one. But yeah, Carter-Vickers one is a blow, regardless, Liam, of what we've said about Carter-Vickers. And yeah, he's definitely not the Carter-Vickers of 2-3 years ago, no doubt about it. And he has had some lackadaisical moments, but there is still a feeling that when he's in that back line, you still feel that wee bit better. But yeah, it looks like potentially 5 months. That's going to take him well into 2026. So, God, he joins the long-term injury list with Jota, and we don't even know when Maeda will be back as well. That's another one. But, Johnny, the other player who went down last night, it was just like walking wounded last night, but obviously Iheanacho, minutes into the game, Alistair Johnston plays his part, and he plays one of those balls up the right-hand side, puts a bit of swaz on it, a bit of finesse, bends it up the touchline, and obviously those are, as David said last night, those are the runs that Kyogo would used to make back in the I was going to say back in the day, but it was like, 10 months ago?
Yeah.
There you go. Old school indeed. But yeah, obviously Iheanacho's tried to chase down one of those, and his legs are not having it. And yeah, he was down, hamstring injury, he's gone. Johnny Kenny came on, and obviously we've been struggling obviously to make chances and score goals in a lot of games this season. I'll give Johnny Kenny a bit of credit last night. I thought he tried. He was definitely involved. Some of the chances he actually had and made himself, like the first chance that he made, the one when he was out wide, and he wins the ball off the boy trying to shield it out of the sideline, and he's unlucky not to score. I think he's very unlucky, but he never hid. He was always getting himself into the right places, but you can see he just lacks that quality. But we now find ourselves in a position, Johnny, where it's going to be Kenny up front, or maybe, just maybe, Shin Yamada could be a wild card there. I have my doubts on that happening, which is unfortunate. But that's where we're at right now. So yeah, Johnny Kenny looks like he'll get a prolonged run, a prolonged bit of involvement in the first team. But from what you can remember for the game last night, what did you make of Kenny? I say a lot of industry there, but just lacking that final bit of quality that you need.
Yeah, I think the way you sum up Johnny Kenny last night, you can see the guy. He puts the effort in. He puts a shift in. That first one that you talked about, where he won the ball off the guy out wide, he was so desperately unlucky not to score that. And if he scored it would have been a goal of the season contender without doubt. And like you said, he gets into the right places. Just not. I mean, there was at least another 3 attempts. Yeah, the one with the goalkeeper around the post, wasn't there?
In the first half, yep.
8-9 yards out on the angle. But he also had a couple of decent, almost a couple of decent headers, but he was in a decent position and got the headers in. Unfortunately, they weren't the decent headers that we would have liked. But I think it will be Kenny, because Shin Yamada will be the wildest of wild cards if he suddenly gets put on the park on Sunday in any way, shape, or form, starting or coming on as a sub. I think I just don't know what's going to go on with that guy. But we can't pass an opinion on Yamada because we've not been given the opportunity to assess one. So yeah, it's going to be Johnny Kenny, which is which just again highlights the transfer window and the absolute neglect, and that's what it was, absolute neglect. I mean, like say 10 months ago, it would have been a choice of bringing in Kyogo, Kyogo would have been playing anyway, or Adamida. And I think if we're all honest with ourselves, we probably all would rather have Adamida coming in to cover for the next 5 or 6 weeks than Johnny Kenny. And Kenny's had a decent scoring record. It was over in Ireland, obviously, but also in the Conference League, which
he scored a few goals in that.
A decent level of competition for him, and he was scoring. So he might do a Liam Scales and be the guy from Ireland who grabs his chance when injury has robbed others of theirs. So let's hope so, because he's going to have to find his scoring boots for Sunday.
Yeah, he definitely will. You can go and speak to Liam Scales and you can teach him how to finish with that left foot there. So last night, nice wee side foot finish, that one like a prime Henrik Larsson there, like a prime striker, just finish it nice neatly into the corner. But in terms of some other positions going into Sunday, Liam, the wingers obviously we're still trying to get that balance right now. Now, obviously, again after last Sunday, and thankfully, as Johnny said, we didn't see Yang last night. I don't want to see Yang starting at all at Tynecastle. But yeah, where are you on that one, Liam, with the wingers? Tynecastle, I thought last night, a lot of industry again. He was taking his men on. Just every ball he was putting in the box, just never really found their man. But he's always looking to be lively when he gets involved. Balakisha came on as well. He was unlucky with one chance where he cut inside on his right foot. And he kept one of those ones. He kept on going across the face of the box, kept going. Then he unleashed the shot, and it just went by. It just went over the bar, just to the top right corner. So he's unlucky in that sense. For me, I would just try and find a way to just make it Balakisha and Tynecastle. If one has to play on the right, then one of them's going to have to. It's just going to have to be the way it goes. But you've paid the money for them in the summer. Balakisha, 4.5 million, over 5 million for Tynecastle. To me, it's a case that I think you've just got to get the two of them playing. I think they'll only get integrated in the team the more you play them. But right now, Balakisha's kind of just got a cameo role in most games, coming off the bench, and you're not really getting to really judge him. So I think it's a case of Tynecastle. I think Davis said it last night on the post-match. Put him. I think he'd probably a better fit on the right-hand side. So maybe go for something like that. But also there's a few wildcard shouts as well about could Balakisha be an auxiliary forward, because apparently he's played through the middle when he was at Royal Antwerp, so there is those options there. But the right hand side of the forward line is for me one of the biggest problems, because if it's Yang, we may as well just start the game with 10 men. Genuinely, we may as well. As much as we all love James Forrest, at this stage he's only really good as an impact sub coming on for the last 20 minutes or so. When he's had to start games this season, he's been pretty invisible. So to me, I think you've got to look at getting Balakisha and Tynecastle. One of them has to just go to the right-hand side and play there, Liam.
Right. Or...
okay, or... right.
Ralston by any chance, Liam?
No. Here's a mad take. I like to... He's talked about Johnny Kenny out in the wing there when he took that man on. I was surprised at his pace last night. And I've seen that before. There was a couple of other games. There was a game in pre-season. I think it was one when we played Newcastle or Chelsea or something. And he sprinted to get a ball and he absolutely left the defender for dead. And I go, well, this boy's rapid. I mean, if we can figure out how to play him so that we can, again, use his best attributes, know the position that's stamped on his union card or anything like that, we can only play this. Look at his attributes and see if would he actually fill that role out in the wing right now? I don't know. He actually might. He's good at running in between the spaces. He's been good at getting back. He's actually gives us a bit of height as well. I keep forgetting how tall he is until I see him with other players. But he's actually, he's over 6 foot in that. So, it could be a threat in there early. I don't know. It's one of the things that, okay, well, nothing else is working right now. Why don't we try that? And I know that would leave us short, if Yamada doesn't work. But then again, you just said it earlier. We could put Balakwisha through there. I mean, we're going to roll the dice. Let's roll the dice because you're going to have to do these eventually. So let's do it. Make it look like it's all part of the plan and give these guys an opportunity to step up. But yeah, see if there's ways we can get the guys that are performing on the park. And I'm not saying Kenny's performing, but as I said, I like some of the things that he did. I'm just disappointed he didn't do more better things.
Aye, no, definitely. It's I say it's going to be a mishmash of a team on Sunday with all the problems we've got. So Brendan, this is where we after all these recent interviews he's done, talk about I have to find a way and whatnot. Yes, you certainly do need to find a way to put something together because Johnny, this game. I mean, there's. I know Hearts are obviously flying at the moment, but they won't be used to this pressure either because there now is a pressure on them. They are like most people in the media are talking about, Celtic may as well not turn up by the sounds of it. It's a foregone conclusion. I mean, yeah, Hearts tend to always give us a tricky game at Tynecastle. It can be a horrible ground to go to. There has been times where we have rolled in there and just steamrolled them. And other times where we saw a few years ago, we lost 2-0 there and they can always just make it difficult. Horrible atmosphere with the crowd right on top of you. The crowd will be right up for it anyway. Hearts hate us at the best of times anyway. As I always say, they're cousins from Govan, aren't they, really? So it's like they've got the same attitude towards us as Rangers fans do. So they'll be mad up for it. Derek McInnes hasn't got much love for Celtic neither, obviously with his allegiances. So, yeah, they will smell blood. But, I don't think it's right that we can just be so easily written off, Johnny. I still think, we've got... We've had obviously a bit of a sloppy season so far, and times looked very disjointed. But it is still that's the 9th fixture of the season, the 9th or the 10th fixture. Still a long, long way to go. But yeah, how you generally feeling going into Sunday at this stage?
I'm probably a bit more apprehensive about Sunday's game than it A should be, and B have been in the past. Like you said, Hearts can. It's a funny stadium for us. We can either, as you said, turn up, steamroll them, or I can't remember what game it was. Was it last season or the season before? And they absolutely destroyed us, particularly in the first half. And we were expecting, turn up, play, win. And Hearts actually that day played out the skins, and they looked a far better team than we did. I can't remember whether we overcame it in the end and won, or whether we drew. But
I think it was a game that we beat them 4-1. We actually won the game quite comfortably in the end. I remember Adamida came off the bench and scored a late goal.
Right,
and
yeah.
The Hearts fans.
I just can't remember when it was, whether it was last season or the season before. But anyway, I just use that to highlight the fact that we never really quite know what's going to turn up. And I think you make a quite good point there. Is I haven't seen Hearts playing this season. I can only go on what I've heard Terry was saying on his shows. He's watched them a couple of times this year against Hibs, and I think he said he watched them and against Rangers and they weren't really that terrific. But they got the results in both games against Hibs and against Rangers. Yeah. I think he highlighted the fact that when they beat Rangers, they got a dodgy penalty, and the first goal shouldn't have counted because Shankland
handballed it, and then a week later they played Hibs and Martin Boyle get punished.
But it was one of those occasions where we were quite happy with those decisions because it, obviously went against Rangers. We wouldn't be happy if it went against us. So although they're top of the league and they're doing well, they're not playing scintillating football and playing people off the park. So that gives me some kind of hope, if you like, for Sunday's game. But At the minute, I'd snap your hand off for a draw at the minute. But like I said, they're going to now face a pressure they've not faced before, because they're now looking at thinking, when we go 8 points clear, and they're really into nosebleed territory there, get beat, we're back to 2 points, and the wheels are starting to get really shiggly on the axle and might just come off.
Yeah.
So they're under a pressure that they've not had to face before, and we'll see how they cope with it.
It was this time
we're
last
under pressure as well, obviously, because although we can say it's early in the season, 9th game or whatever it is, you know, if it was us going 8 points clear, we'd be quite, confident of where things are going to go for the rest of the year. So, although we're saying we think Hearts will fall away, blah, 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 they may or they may not. We don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we're 8 points behind this early in the season. So it's going to be an interesting one on Sunday. I think it might be quite a lot of shouting at the telly on Sunday. I think the neighbours will know I'm in.
Yeah, I think I was going to say it was this time last year that we played Aberdeen in the semi-final of the League Cup. After their great start, we done them 6-0, and then after that, their results began to stumble in the league, and then eventually it just totally unwound them. I don't think Hearts will go in as bad a run as Aberdeen, because they have been on a huge regression from pretty much the start of 2025, which also makes it even more galling that we lost a fucking cup final to them. But anyway, it's done now, nothing we can do to change it. But Liam, how do you think Hearts will approach the game? Because Graham Tyrrell has got us coming help out. They will flood the midfield, and that's the thing. Like last night against Graz, we looked, we looked decent. We missed a lot of chances, but here's the key: we made a lot of chances, which has been the problem. Are Hearts going to look at it and think we can just flood the midfield and just sit tight, and Celtic will run out ideas, and maybe we can hit them on the counter and beat them 1-2-0 or something with some late goals? Are they going to just come out and go, just get at this Celtic team? Because I think if Hearts do open up, like I say, Gats weren't super attacking last night. They weren't like all guns blazing, but they gave us enough space for us to make all those chances. And it's the point where, well, if you give us that many chances, we are going to win games. So I think Hearts will look at that last night and probably think, we don't want to be too open against them. And if Derek McInnes, he's smart enough to realise that, well, most teams have just been sitting with 10 men behind the ball against Celtic all season, and they seem to run out of ideas. So I think they're going to look to stodge it up.
2 minutes, Phil.
Yeah, no bother. I think they'll try and stodge it up, Liam, as best they can, and just try to hit us on the counter. They'll be happy for us to have the ball lots, because they know that we do see a lot of the ball and don't do that much with it. So it's a case of, for those moments we do have the ball, Liam, and it goes without saying, it's very obvious for me to say this, we have to make it count. This is the time where we have to make sure that if a chance does open up, we don't look for an extra pass, we don't take an extra touch. If it opens up in front of you, if 25 yards to go, whatever, look at that boy last night for Sturm Graz. You shoot for that distance, put it right in the top corner, it can happen. But our players just seem like, no, we can't shoot from there. Can't do that. You've got to just go for these opportunities, because you might find ourselves in a game on Sunday where chances are at a premium, and we just need to anything that comes our way, we just need to go for it, mate.
I've seen that lately. I've been very conscious of that this year, that all of our players seem to be taking an extra touch. Even when it's like you're trying to build up play and it's like, 1/2 a second, keep somebody on side and that, dragging it. No, we love to do that foot over the ball and then push it forward a wee bit. And it's just pure vanity. It's not the best way to crow football, but it looks good. Looks good on the telly, looks good in the photographs. You sort of steady yourself, fix your hair. No, it's still, but that's why I liked Ange's football, is he sort of cut out a lot of that. He understood that for what it was.
Yeah.
It was like, you're getting it under control for what? But your confidence or whatever. No, you're a professional football player. You're there to react and use what you get conditioned all week to do, which is like, bang, nail that pass rapid as soon as you identify that opening. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm hoping to see. That's what I think is going to be able to beat Hearts. If we start playing it a bit and we start overpassing it and taking the extra touch and try to start to do build up with them, I think they're going to find our vulnerabilities and come through us. Mm-hmm. Because again, well, remember, they're not facing CCV back there, right? So a lot of them guys are like journeyman players. They don't come from a winning culture, most of them.
Yeah.
But right now they're involved maybe for the first time ever. You know, a lot of that goes away when you see a guy like, oh, you're squaring up against Kieran Tierney and, you know, CCV and Schmeichel, and you're seeing faces now that you know that have played at a higher level from World Cups and things like that. You know, and so these journeymans might not be as brave, you know, at Tynecastle going up against guys that have actually accomplished stuff. But, you know, if they smell blood with young Donovan, Dane Murray, yeah, they'll, you know, try and see if they can run all over top of us. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's good. It's a big game. I see this as another game, regardless of how Hearts plays. I think, okay, this is one I want to see Rodgers win. I think, okay, so here's a managerial battle where we're not looking at him taking on the latest flavour of the month over Ibrox, right? This is a guy that knows, everybody says, Derek McInnes knows Scottish football. He knows Scottish football. And so I think we have to show that Rodgers also knows Scottish football. He's got all the trophies, but do you know Scottish football? Do you know tactics? It's you on your own now. You've got Gavin Strachan, you've got Kennedy. You are today, guys, right? You know, you could have somebody else coming in. Chris Davies, I think, had a lot to do with the tactics, because I think he knew how to change a team, because I don't see Rodgers going to anybody else for the things, but I used to always remember him and Davies were always on the notepad together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, now's the time. Get the Gucci belt up, polish it up, get the Gucci Crocs, a whole lot, whatever they do to...
Yeah, the Honda Civic out the garage.
You know, and I think that's it. You know, it's like, just, if you're going to come up with a really good analogy, let's figure it out. Maybe end the podcast with this, but like, what motor do you think we're going to actually come out at as in Sunday against Hearts? I think right now, I think we're going to be... I'm seeing like a really nice, like 19... And I mean this in the nicest way. 72 Plymouth Valiant, lime green, missing a front headlight.
Okay, well, that's makes sense.
And it's got a brand new back end, but the tyre on the left side's a bit older than the rest of them. But the engine's good. You just get to get the timing right. And then, we're not sure what it's got up front, but it's his game. There you go. That's my car.
That's a much better analogy.
Google it, by the way. It's a beautiful motor.
I'll have a look at that when we finish. Have a wee look at that one. But yeah, I see it's a huge game, regardless of what we may think about if Hearts will last the pace or not. And yeah, it's a big one on Sunday. So we do have, I think the way the fixture computers came out is we don't have to wait that long to play them again. Actually, I think we play them at Celtic Park at the start of December, so it's only a few weeks later essentially that we're playing them again. But yeah, we obviously want to try and prove a point here, because as Liam said enough times, Johnny, about 2025, and the stats say everything about Celtic in must-win big game situations. It seems to be we're struggling big time. We beat Young Boys of Bern at the start of the year in the Champions League. They got us through to the knockout round, and last night you could argue was obviously must-win. Well, it really was, because I think if we hadn't, then our European campaign was pretty much dead already after 3 games. But yeah, the number of must-win games that Brendan's came away with victory. So he's got a point to prove here. And this is Derek McInnes, who, in Brendan's first spell, Derek McInnes couldn't get anything right against Brendan Rodgers. The amount of times at Aberdeen, because Aberdeen, I think, finished second twice when Brendan was in charge the first time. And all the games against Aberdeen always seem to go the same way, but Aberdeen just seemed afraid to try and come out and attack us. But then when he was Kilmarnock manager, he seemed to find a formula that worked. And that was just more being agricultural, as you like to say, Liam, where it was just about being physical. But now he's got a team that look like, one, they've got a bit of physicality, and two, they've got a few decent players. The boy Braga up front.
Braga, yeah.
Yeah, he seems to look like he's a bit of a player. So they've got a wee bit of style and panache there as well. So, yeah, I think Derek McInnes knows that he has to be a bit brave as well. He can't just just sit back, because eventually you'd like think that we will wear them down in some way. But on Sunday. So we'll go to the predictions because we just came an hour there. So Johnny, we'll wrap it up in a few minutes. What's your gut feeling, your prediction? What's your head and your heart telling you on this one?
My heart's telling me a win. Until last night, my head would have told me a defeat. But so I think we're either going to have an arrow 2-1 win.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go for 2-1. But the lack of scoring does have me a bit concerned, and it could just easily be 0-0. Yeah. And I don't know actually where the Hearts might actually have the attitude of not to lose ground rather than try and gain ground.
Yep.
It's really a lot of it might depend on. I'm not saying it depend on them, but their mindset. If they come out with the attitude of rather than let's make sure we win, let's make sure we don't get beat, then it could be a win for us. But I think it's gonna be a tough game.
Yeah,
pure 6-0 win. I think it's gonna be a tight game, and I think we'll win by 2-1. Is what I'm going to go for, despite the lack of goals of late.
Yeah, no, I can go along with that one. So I think we're going to have to dig deep. It's going to have to be a real big effort. We've expelled a lot of energy last night, and obviously a lot of casualties as well, fallen by the wayside with injuries. But I don't know. We've seen moments in the past where we've gone into games against the likes of Rangers where they've played a Thursday night game in the Europa League, and we've thought, we'll canter this, we'll walk this, they'll be knackered. And then by the end of that game, Rangers looked like the team with more energy. That was the Cup semi-final in 2022.
Cup semi-final, yeah.
They went all the way through extra time, and they still...
I was just going to say that. They done extra time that night as well.
Aye, so we... I don't know if it'll affect us too much in the sense of us being tired, especially because we didn't have to travel anywhere on Thursday night. We were still here in Glasgow when we played, so I don't think that'll play into it. But we are going to have to find a gear that we probably haven't got to this season, and because we've been really pedestrian at times. I think
what sort of gear? A gear in what sort of car, Phil?
Oh, what sort of car exactly? Aye. Another car metaphor and analogy. You just got to keep it's happening all the time now.
I don't think Honda Civics have had so much publicity. In the last 5 years they've had this week.
The thing that triggered me the most about that comment was, see if we were playing Real Madrid in a Champions League game and we get beat, and you said, you can't, go to a race with a Honda Civic, expect it to drive like a Ferrari. I would get it, but for fuck's sake, Brendan, we're playing Dundee. But anyway, that's gone now. That's in the past. But I think we'll win it on Sunday, but it's going to be a hard watch. I think it'll be like a really scrappy 1-0, which we'll take. I'll take every day of the week, but I think we're going to have to dig deep, and I think we're going to scrape it. It might even be like a penalty or some sort of set piece goal that's going to win it for us. But I'll go for a Celtic win, but by the narrowest of margins. But hey, we take it every day. If we can do it, then by all means we'll be more than happy with it come Sunday afternoon. Liam?
I see 5 goals. Very clairvoyant today. 5 goals, I see. So I'm thinking 3-2 Celtic or 4-1 Celtic. And I think it's the opportunity for some of the young guys to show up. I want to see it start to forge an identity tomorrow, just playing, finding a different way to bring the ball out that utilises our strengths. And let's see, okay, who do you put into those positions now? If you don't have the same guys, let's change the shape and see what we can do. Let them go. I've always, as you said, like some of the earlier teams that we've seen where we put out a makeshift team, like one of my favourite games is the one that we played Aberdeen before we got to the cup final. We've put out a lot of young boys and stuff. I remember Ange did it with a makeshift team against, was it Bhoys? No.
Real Betis in the Europa League.
Yes. Yep. And Stephen Walsh, I think, was probably the most experienced player we had. And I enjoyed that game as well. And you could see, wow, we actually looked really good that night. And anytime he's given that sort of opportunity, young guys, I mean, that's how you build. I say you build a squad. I say you get team like unity and all that together by by winning against the odds. Not just like, oh, I've did your part now, so-and-so's back now, thanks for your help. Yeah, you got to reward effort and you got to make it on merit. And so tomorrow, big opportunity for people to sort of grab that and run with it. And well, not tomorrow, the day after, but I'm looking forward to it. It's a big game.
Yeah, well, definitely is.
3-2 Celtic.
3-2 Celtic. Oof, be a hard one on the heart, but yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it if we can get the victory. If we get the 3 points at this stage, we have to, again, can't say enough. We're in these must-win situations, these big game situations. We've lost our way in 2025. We need to try and change that as the year runs to an end and we head into 2026. We have to turn that form around, because the next week, we've got this game with Hearts, and then we've got a cup semi-final with Rangers next Sunday, and that's huge. And potentially, if we get through that, you've got a cup final as well in December. So there's a lot of big games potentially, and we have to make sure that we find that Celtic that we can get through those types of fixtures. So big job ahead for Brendan Rodgers. This is where he has to earn his crust. He's got to prove that he's still got the magic there. And we now batten down the hatches and we head to Tynecastle for Sunday. So we'll head off now, folks. That's an hour and 6 minutes we've been on. Enjoy your Saturday and, of course, enjoy Sunday. And we'll be back for the post-match show. Terry will be here again, whoever joins him. And thanks to David as well for stepping in last night. Terry was all set to do it himself, but David was available, but he was like, why is he doing it himself? And I was like, Terry just felt guilty about asking anybody. David's like, I'll jump on with him. I'll come on with him. So we'll see. We'll see who's on. If I go on with Terry, hopefully I'm not coming on to talk about a bad result again, because I seem to be the bad luck charm here. Every time I go and do a post-match show with Terry, it's always a draw or a loss. So I'm really, really hoping that if I'm happen to be coming on it, then it's a change of fortune. It'd be a really nice change of pace to talk about a good result on Sunday. But Celtic, we need to just go and get it done by hook or by crook, whatever it takes. We need to just make sure we get it done. We're going to have to dig deep. We're going to have to patch the team up with a lot of sticky plasters, but we need to get through it somehow. So thanks, Johnny, and thanks, Liam, for joining me tonight. Thanks, everybody in the chat as well for choosing us this fine Friday. Hit the like button on the way out. Help us towards that 1,000 mark as well. And say the more interactions, the more likely we'll get recommended to people. And we'll be back on Sunday for the post-match show, and we shall catch you then. Enjoy it, folks, and see you next time. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.